Hey everybody, welcome back to Pensando Inglés, where I bring you real English about real topics, real life topics, interesting things. That's what we talk about here. Got my coffee, I'm going to work. It is about 5:30 p.m. right now, and I have to work all night. So I work from 6:30 at night to 6:30 in the morning tonight. So that's why I'm drinking my coffee so late in the afternoon. Anyways, I'm driving to work. I have to get on the highway. So I want to make this video to test out how the sound is, how the audio is when I'm driving on the highway. If it's too loud and you can't really hear it, or if it's okay with my GoPro. So we're going to do a test run. This video is for a subscriber named Miguel. Saludos, hermano. Miguel asked me if I could make a video talking about how to deal with the frustrations when you're learning English. And I think we all know exactly what he means, all right? When you're learning a new language or when you're learning any skill, you think to yourself, wow, I'm not doing it fast enough, I'm not learning good enough, I don't know enough vocabulary, I don't understand everything I hear, I'm doing a bad job, okay? That's because humans have something called a negativity bias, which means that our brains automatically, most of the time, go towards the negative option, okay? So instead of having a thought like, well, I've only been learning for a few months, I think I'm doing pretty good, I'm trying my best, our brain says, no, eres tonto, you're dumb, you're not doing good. That's what our brain tells us, okay? But the truth is, guys, it takes time to learn a language. So I'm going to share some thoughts about maybe sometimes I've experienced this frustration, and some ways to deal with it, some different ways to think about it. So one thing I want to say is that I consider myself to speak pretty good Spanish. Okay, I consider myself definitely fluent, bilingual, at least bilingual. I don't really like to call myself trilingual because my French kind of sucks. But I'm definitely bilingual. Nobody would ever say that I can't speak Spanish. And in fact, when people hear me speak Spanish, they say, wow, your Spanish is so good, so good. But there's so many times when I come across words that I don't understand, or maybe I'm hearing somebody speaking a different, from a place I've never heard somebody speaking Spanish before, and they speak a little differently. They have a different, not a dialect, but different accent from that region, and it takes me a little bit of time to understand. And then even my brain starts telling me, like, you've been speaking Spanish for 3 or 4 years now. Why can't you understand this? You should be able to understand everything you hear. There's no excuse, okay? So I feel like that sometimes. You know, I read all the time in Spanish, I watch shows, I listen to podcasts fully in Spanish, and I have no problems. But every now and then, de vez en cuando, every now and then, I'll buy a book in Spanish, and I'll try and read it, and just the first couple pages are so hard for me, so hard, that I'm like, wow. Like, do I speak Spanish or not? Why can't I understand this? But the thing about that is, in books, they use a lot of big words because the author wants to sound smart. Okay, so he's going to use a lot of fancy words, so it sounds like he's got a great vocabulary. And for that reason, it could be difficult in your second language. That brings me to my next point, which is that you will never fully know your second language because you will never fully know your first language. Okay, guys, there have been books that I've read in English where I've had to look up a whole sentence. Okay, the author was trying to be Mr. Smart Guy, so he wrote a whole sentence with the hardest words ever written, and I'm like, what does this even mean? Is this guy like, what is he trying to say, and why would he say it like that? So even in English, guys, sometimes I have to use my dictionary or on the phone, look up a word to be like, what does this word mean? What on earth? And I've been speaking English for 32 years, and I think my English is pretty good, guys. So please, guys, animo. Do not feel bad when you don't understand a word, or when you don't understand a sentence, or if you put on a video and it's too difficult for you. Just come back to the content that you can understand and consume more and more and more. And I promise, guys, eventually you'll get to that next level where you could watch Netflix, where you could listen to native podcasts, things like that, okay? What else did I want to tell you guys? I want to tell you about sometimes it happens to me. Books can be difficult. You'll never know your first language all the way, so you can't learn your second language all the way. Third, sorry guys, difficult to drive and think at the same time, and I didn't sleep much last night. I know I have one more point to make. What is it? Oh, okay guys, I remember, sorry about that. So it'll be the last point. The last point that I want to make is that there have been a couple times when I make a video in Spanish and I don't edit it, and I made a mistake. John from Colombia, he told me, when you make a mistake, it makes me feel good about myself because your Spanish is so good. And it made me realize that, guys, when we watch movies or we watch YouTube, these things are edited, guys, okay? I don't care how good you are. Mr. Salas makes mistakes in English, I promise, okay? The best English speakers make mistakes. The people who speak French also make mistakes. I don't care, all right? These videos are edited, guys. So don't believe everything you see and stop thinking that everything has to be perfect, all right? Because the truth is, guys, we hold ourselves to a higher standard than other people do. I'll give you an example. My wife, okay? I think my wife's English is improving, and I think she's doing great. I love to listen to her speak English. I'm so proud of her. In her mind, she can't speak English, okay? She beats herself up and says like, oh, why am I not learning enough? I've been here in the US for 3 years. I should be speaking good English. But then she puts a video on the channel speaking English, and everybody says, wow, your English is great, okay? So we judge ourselves, guys. We judge ourselves a lot harder than other people do. And let me tell you, when I make a video in Spanish, a lot of times, I'll make a little mistake. Like, I'll pronounce an O in the way that somebody who speaks English would pronounce an O, and not with the Spanish pronunciation. And I guarantee that nobody who listens to it cares at all. Nobody cares, okay? But I hear it and I'm like, oh, Kyle, you dummy. You messed it up. Now we have to re-record it. Now we gotta edit it out. But it's not true, guys. Nobody cares, all right? The only thing that matters is that you're trying, all right? And I promise you, if you're talking to a good person and you're trying your best to speak their language, they're gonna appreciate it, all right? When I try and speak Spanish with somebody, they treat me so well. They treat me so nice because I took the time to try and learn their language, okay? And I understand it may be different if you're here in the US and you're trying to speak English and your English isn't that great yet. Yeah, there's gonna be some jerks, okay? There's gonna be some mean people who say, oh, you need to learn English, you're in America. Okay, these people are idiots. Those people are dumb, and you don't need to pay attention to them, okay? Don't let those people make you feel bad. Because guess what? The only people who ever talk like that are people who don't speak any other languages, okay? So, yeah, maybe your English isn't perfect yet, but at least you speak English. They would be lost in your home country, all right, guys? So, that's the thing. It happens to all of us, happens to me all the time. There's a lot of times when I feel like, oh man, my Spanish is getting worse because I haven't been speaking so much. Oh, I need to be doing more, I need to be consuming more input, I need to be reading more. We judge ourselves, guys, and it's gonna happen. So just try to be kind with yourself. Treat yourself how you would treat another person, okay? Next time you're judging yourself, think, would I judge somebody else this harshly? If somebody else was trying to learn another language and they were having a little trouble, would I be mean to them? Would I call them dumb? Probably not. So don't do it to yourself, okay? Let me tell you something. Miguel, if you're having frustration, you're listening to a native speaker speak English right now. This is how I speak, okay? I'm speaking a little bit slower, a little bit more clearly. This is real English, and you're listening to me, you're understanding me. You're doing a great job, man. You speak English, okay? If you understand me right now, hablas inglés, hermano. All right? So keep it up, man. And that goes for all of you guys. All of you guys who are working hard every day, don't get discouraged. Keep trying. Keep doing a little bit more each day. And after a year, 1 year from now, you will not believe how much progress you've made. All right, my friends. Thank you so much for spending your time with me while I drive to work. You guys kept me company today. Normally I would be bored. You guys kept me company. All right. I hope the audio is good in this. I like driving around and making these videos because I feel like I'm using my time. I'm not wasting my car rides. I always said never waste a car ride. So, como siempre, mis amigos, queridísimos, muchísimas gracias por ver. Nos vemos pronto.